Hey everybody, Sam here.
And Angela, and welcome to our channel.
Welcome to the story of our septic installation for here on our new homestead. So we're going to try and give you as much information as possible with the huge disclaimer. Yep, there it is. We're not professionals. We're not septicologists, and we, other than this house, having this septic installed, have only seen the process done once before, and it was a totally different system. So bear that in mind. We're not professionals, but we do want to share this information and kind of tell the story because honestly, it's something that I would have really liked to watch way back before we started the process, and probably drug you along for too. Anyway. The first step in this process, after we had the property, and some people choose to do this as part of buying property. So wherever in your world, the first step is to get a permit or have your soil tested and make sure, can you have a septic on your land? For us here in Tennessee, the permit process is really straightforward. You go online to a website, put up the information, they give you instructions on what to do. For us, we had to make sure the property lines were marked, the road was in a picture for a map or include photos, and that the actual house location or your planned house location was flagged out on the property as well. After that, you pretty much just kind of wait for the inspector to show up. They didn't allow us to be on site at the same time. I don't know if that was just because of 2020 changes and things going along that way, or if that's the norm for them. But they came out, looked at the spot, then called me and said, Houston, we got a problem.
So the phone call we got was to let us know that where we had picked our house site, it meant that we could not have a traditional septic system.
Right, a cheaper system.
Right. If we wanted a traditional septic system, we would have to move our home to about 30 to 50 feet from the road. Where we have it at is 300 feet from the road because we wanted a good distance from the road noise, people looking at you, all that type thing.
Privacy, yeah.
Yes.
What's the point of being in the country if you're right on top of the road?
Yeah. So they said that we needed a pump system. Now, whoa, wait a second. What's a pump system? I didn't even know there was such a thing before all of this happened.
So we were faced with the decision, do we change the location and placement of our home for a cheaper solution, or do we stick with where our house is, where we really wanted it, and just kind of pay for a more expensive system? So we decided that we would just buy once, cry once, and keep the house where we wanted it forever, and just go with the pump system. There are a lot of different septic systems, so what we're going to call a pump system may or may not be the same thing in your area with what other people call a pump system. So just keep this in mind. For us, it just meant that instead of having your primary septic tank that then drains by gravity into your drain field, you have a second tank that sits between your septic tank and your drain field. That tank catches the effluent or the fluid runoff from your septic tank. Once it gets to a certain level, it then is pumped out and uphill to your drain field. That's what we had to do.
So enough of the talk. Let's go back in time and look at the footage of it being installed.
Well, as you guys saw from that short clip there, catastrophic failure. Hydraulic hose just popped on the guy. Thankfully, he was not hurt. He was safe. And Angela got some paper towels for him. He got himself cleaned up. And they just left to go get the parts to fix it. Looking at it here, the hose looks like where the end gets crimped on, it just gave out on him. Obviously, this machine is very nice. It's pretty new, so it's not like they've run it ragged. It's just one of those things that just a freak accident. Nobody could prevent it, and oh well, it happens. So as you can see here, they've got, partially of a pit dug here. It looks like it's about 8 feet at the deepest, which is pretty deep. But for our septic system, if I remember correctly, we have to have 2 1,000-gallon tanks installed. So this is only pit 1 of 2 that will be dug. So that's the status for now. It is a beautiful sunny day, which is great because I thought it was supposed to rain, but who knows how to do weather anymore. And we're just enjoying it, trying to stay out of their way, and mostly videoing from the windows. And just enjoying the fact that they're here and the septic is being installed. Seeing this pit in our yard, oh man, I want a root cellar so bad. I want an underground bunker. Can we build one? Can we add it to our wish list? Elijah, you cool with that? We build a bunker?
Yeah.
An underground root cellar, storm shelter? Yeah, I'd love to. It's also really cool to see that our soil, well, mostly just clay, I guess. No rocks, which is great. There are very rocky areas in East Tennessee. Thankfully, we are not living on top of one because that would just be a nightmare.
Crack at the back door.
The snake's up there. I found the snake up there. It's a black snake, and it's a I think it's dead, the tree, because it has holes all in it, and it's been in the holes of the tree. Right there.
It looks like we have a resident black rat snake, which is pretty awesome because they eat all the bad snakes and rats and so forth and so on. We believe we saw this one last fall in this area and it kind of disappeared, and I guess now we know why. He found a hole in a tree and wintered there, and now he's trying to get warm. Still makes you nervous, doesn't it?
It does. That's huge. That tank's got to be all 6 feet tall. And that concrete lid was a lot heavier than I thought it was going to be, so. Well, the guys just left after, I guess, installing everything and ready for inspection. We really don't know for sure because we weren't over here in their faces, bugging them. They were kind of doing their thing. They worked all day on this, and I don't know. It's one of those things. Sometimes we are more hands-on with the video. This is definitely one where we weren't, and we're okay with that.
I'm surprised by the amount of space that the drain lines and everything take up. It's a lot.
It is. It's all over the place. We knew that when we picked the spot for the house, and then we got our septic permit. We knew that we were going to have this setup at that point. It's just different to now see it in person rather than a sketch on a piece of paper from the state.
Right. It is what it is, and we get to live here and have our house where we wanted it. So that's the bigger point that we're taking away.
Yeah, it's a more expensive system, but the house is where we want it. So buy once, cry once. I think the next step is for the inspector to come out and inspect everything, and then they will cover it all up. And then after that, we have to get our electrician to hook everything up and then pay for a second inspection at that point. We could have avoided the whole second inspection if we had already trenched and had our power from the utility run, but we didn't know where that was going to go. Wait, scratch that. We didn't know where the drain lines were going to go. I never would have guessed they went that far in the hayfield.
Right.
So we waited, and I'm still glad we waited, even though they didn't go to where we had mowed for our power line trench.
We were being safe.
Yeah. So that playing it safe does cost us another $100 for a second permit or a second inspection, but whatever. It is what it is at this point. We're just kind of numb to it. So, yep, okay.
There's nothing we can control about that, and we're wanting to do this by the book so we don't get into any trouble or anything, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
So we're okay.
Yeah, it's fine. I guess that's it for this part of the septic. We'll definitely see you guys when they start covering it up, or we have more information to share. But that's it for today.
No need to say bye.
No
We're
need to say
coming
bye.
back.
Okay, we'll come back.
Well, there you go. That's pretty much it in a nutshell of what was done. After they left, we did do a lot of smoothing and making the front yard more of what we wanted it. And then it ended with the pole getting put up with the alarm on it.
Right. In reality, the electrical portion of the septic tie-in was months later down the road. So what you're seeing, or what you saw with the footage of the pole and the little alarm light and everything, like off of Jurassic Park, that's reality. That's what we have to live with. So it's a little bit ugly, yeah, but again, it lets us put our home exactly where we want it on the property, and I don't know, it's a pole.
I figured that I can do some bushes kind of around it, or, you know, not on top of the tanks or anything like that, but it is what it is, and it's not like the center point of our front yard or anything, so
right.
It's not a big deal.
It's over out of the way. One other thing, if you notice, I made a comment about the septic tanks and wow, how great the soil structure looks, and didn't see any rocks, and talked about it being rocky in some parts. boy, did I not know what I was talking about, because that was filmed before we ever started our electrical trench. And if you guys watch our channel, saw those videos,
That was painful.
you know that we found the rock. But I'm glad that they did not find rock during the septic install, because the quote for the installation, all just real numbers, $8,500 for the full install, everything included. However, the guy said if we hit rock, it's $100 per hour for any bit of rock work they got to dig through. So I'm glad they didn't hit rock, because we spent a couple of days on the rock for the electrical trench.
Seriously.
So, well, there you go, guys. That is our story of septic installation here on our property. It is a 3-bedroom unit, so it's plenty large enough for our family and our size home. Don't think we'll ever have problems with drainage or anything, because we had the engineer from the state come out and, you know, picked it and said this is where it needs to be, did a soil test and all that stuff like they do in the state. So again, we're not septic pros, but if you got any questions, we'll try and answer them. You can leave them for us down below.
Thanks for coming along. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next time on the homestead.
See you guys.
Bye. So the problem is where we want.
Can't believe it, I don't have a hat. Okay.
So the problem was with where we want. See, I just feel like it.
Here and that there, I guess. What?
You are there, and that is there.
Put me here.
The problem is where we wanted our house is it wouldn't.
Why do you start abusing me all of a sudden? Welcome to my world.
Yep.
What did you do? Smack me upside the head? Look at my glasses. What is that?
Baby goat.
Echoing from... It sounds like it's in our woods.
It does. I think it's because it's bouncing off the woods.
Jeez.
What was it? Twinkies are good for 20 years.
Drinks have a shelf life of 20 years.
Okay.
I was waiting for the birds.
I know.
They're back.
We're in the country. It's going to happen.
If that worked, that's gonna be... Nope.
They just got quiet to see what it was.
Something's dying. Oh my gosh. Okay. I like white as Casper out here. What is up?